Greetings from Southern California in our beautiful country, America. Erika Kirk, since the assassination of Charlie, her deceased husband, has taken center stage for TP USA, and understandably so. She's carrying the torch for her husband, and there's a lot of people are really turned off by the way that she has mourned, by the way that she has conducted herself post Charlie Kirk's murder. And there's obviously Candace Owens is doing a lot of videos apparently implicating her in a conspiracy as an inside job to have Charlie killed. I haven't done my research on that aspect of it, other than I'll say this, that it is known that people that are about to blow the lid off a hot controversial topic, like people say Charlie Kirk was about to, in terms of that he was going to stop advocating for Israel in the Israel-Palestine conflict. And apparently he was already starting to question things. This is what people speculate led to his death. Now, I would not be surprised if that was the case at all. Knowing what the Zionists are capable of, what they've done in the past, to people that are about to do something that they look at as crossing them, such as JFK. What I will say, though, is TP USA, and this is the thing that I'm going to focus on more, they're heavily Zionist. Okay? They are Christian Zionist. They're very pro-Israel. I'm sure that their doctrine is the typical evangelical dispensationalism, that there's a future 1,000-year millennium headquartered in earthly Jerusalem where Jesus comes to sit on the throne of David on earth and establish a 1,000-year Davidic kingdom where the Jews conveniently rule over Gentiles and teach them the ways of God, and and that Jesus is not on the throne of David. So that really, for me, as an American, as a Christian, is more the concern for me. Now, I have said regarding Erika Kirk, people do mourn differently. I'd probably have to sit down and really analyze how she has mourned from the day her husband was assassinated up until now. But so I'll leave. I don't want to speak ill of a widow, so I'll have to leave that aside for now. But again, the bigger concern is whatever was behind his murder. Because it is a little hard to believe that this young man was able to kill him with that shot. The fact is that TP USA, it would make sense that they would take him out, or Israel would take Charlie out if he was about to withdraw his support for Israel, because they realize that Charlie has a heavy influence on the youth. And that should be our concern, is with Erika picking up the torch at TP USA, where are they leading Christians to? They're leading them to Mount Sinai in Zion. They're leading them to Mount Sinai. They're leading them to continue to forfeit the inheritance Christians were given at the first advent of Christ. One, that the church is Israel, that the church is the kingdom of God on earth, that Christ is on the throne of David, that there is no one future 1,000-year millennium where Jews get to rule over Gentiles, that we go into the new heavens, new earth, and now the present age is the millennial reign of Christ. It's further dragging Christians into the mire and the swamp of Christian Zionism. Well, that also affects America, right? Because neoconservatives, which are Zionists, a lot of them Christian Zionists, have a big influence on our government. And they are doing the bidding of Israel and steadily stripping away the sovereignty of America. And the idea of America first, America only is now being labeled as white supremacist, anti-Semitic. And the most fervent, if you cross Israel and you're an American, you are vilified to the 10th degree by these Zionists, whether they be the Shabbos Goy or the Jews themselves. And it is, and they vilify these people. And the problem is, on the right wing, on the patriot scene, there are very few rational voices that are advocating for an America first, America only, which is a traditional American stance. It's very patriotic. Because the thing is, if you're pro-Israel, you're automatically not a patriot. You're not a patriot. Sorry. I don't care how many MAGA hats you wear. Because being pro-Israel is adverse to the health and the welfare and the sovereignty of America. Because it's getting involved in other people's conflicts, which was contrary to the what George Washington said, no foreign entanglements. And that's more the concern with me with TP USA and Erika Kirk. I'll let other people do the investigation in terms of, was it an inside job that he was assassinated, and did Erika have something to do with it? I don't feel comfortable taking a position on that right now, at least. But I will say that I do feel, I am leaning towards Israel was behind his assassination. Absolutely that. TP USA's involvement, I don't know. But nonetheless, they are a Christian Zionist organization. And people that are on the right, whether they're conservative or far right wing, which would be your tradition, I call it traditionalist. Well, the conservatives, they're luring in because they're, TP USA was the answer to Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime show. But again, it just leads people to drink from the well from Christian Zionism, because part of that is pro-Israel. Part of that is sending billions of dollars to Israel. Part of that is enacting hate speech laws, or trying to enact hate speech laws that to punish people that criticize Jewry, world Jewry. That's all part of the package. You have Christians like Doug Wilson, a Christian nationalist, who is now advocating pro-Israel and saying that being anti-Semitic is a sin. And first of all, there's such thing as anti-Semitism. Because if that's the case, then did Paul sin in 2 Thessalonians 2:15? Did 2:14 through 17? Did Jesus commit anti-Semitism? John 8:44, Revelation 2:9, 3:9. There's no such thing as anti-Semitism, and there's no such thing as hate speech from an American. Hate speech is a Bolshevik, Marxist, liberal ideology, and Europe has embraced it. And that's why even Christian nationalism is a trap, because it's too kosher, I should say. It's too Judaic. And this is why this is the thing. America was never a Christian nationalist country. It was a Christian republic, a sovereign, free Christian republic. That is what our nation was meant to be. So what do they want to do with Christian nationalism? They want to enact hate speech laws, blasphemy laws when you criticize the Jews. And you refer to them like the Bible does as a synagogue of Satan, as the children of the devil, as the enemies of all mankind. So, are you willing, as an American patriot, to do what it takes? Oh, good to see you, Brother Mike. Hail Christ, hail victory. Are you willing to do what it takes to get our country back? Because now on the right, there's these organizations like a TP USA that are leading, like the Judas goat, they're leading Christians into Tikkun Olam, because that is the New World Order. The Jews want the world. They want their Davidic kingdom on earth. And that is my concern with that organization. And what people have to realize about Christian denominations and organizations. Yep, Mossad, TP USA, absolutely. And as I was saying earlier, that I believe Israel is behind the assassination, and I'm leaning towards involvement by TP USA. Now, Erika Kirk, I reserve judgment on that, because that would be a serious thing to say. Definitely Israel for sure. And this is the thing. What people need to realize about Christian denominations, this includes the Catholic Church and the Orthodox Church, they don't formalize their denomination along corporate lines to not survive. They incorporate themselves for the very express purpose of surviving. And because of that, they will quickly sell out Christians that go against the tide of Christian Zionism, because Christian Zionism is the mega trend right now in Christianity. It is the mega trend in the world. And even the Catholic Church, which claims to be non-Zionist, quickly rushes to demonize any Catholic that dares question that Israel has a quote-unquote divine right to the land, or even a right to the land. And not only that, within the Catholic Church, in their canon, they claim, just like the evangelicals, that all Israel, all the Jews will be saved when Christ comes back. But what does that do? When you have that doctrine, what does that do? Well, it causes you to grant the Jews leniency and favor, because you're thinking Jesus is going to save them all one day. Oh, yeah, and you know what's interesting? That whole land grant promise to Abraham and his seed, and these Christian Zionists don't even know how to quote that verse, but all you got to point to Christian Zionists to, okay, well, who's Abraham's seed according to the scriptures? Well, Galatians 3 says it's Christians, not ethnic Jews. So even the Catholic Church is Zionist at the end of the day. They're pro-Zionist. They're pro-Jew. Why do you think the Catholic Church in Vatican II gave up the right to be the only true religion and gave up the Latin Mass? Because the Latin Mass, the liturgy of the Latin Mass implicates the Jews as the ones who killed Christ. Why? Because the job of the Catholic Church is to prop up Zionism. Part of Zionism is the normalization of transgenderism and sodomy. And removing Jesus as the only way to the Father, Jehovah God. Yeah, exactly. They act like Israel of the flesh walks on water, and how dare you criticize them? You're not allowed to criticize them. And they want you as the Christian to turn the other cheek, but Israel has a right to go savage people. And even Nick Fuentes is cucking to Israel now. With this whole Jeffrey Epstein has aura, selling Jeffrey Epstein-inspired merchandise. So who on the right? We need someone on the right that could represent true American patriots well. Because that, it's the time of the hour of the time, as Bill Cooper would say, that if we don't do something quick in terms of turning the tide against Tikkun Olam, then we may lose America forever. And that, my friends, would be a great tragedy, because this country was founded on Christian principles. There's a reason why this country was prosperous, and ultimately it's because it was its faith in Christ as a nation. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, bro, all roads lead to Jerusalem. All roads lead to Jerusalem, and I believe that, like I said earlier in the video, it's unlikely that this kid who they say killed Charlie was able to make that shot. And Tikkun Olam, man. Right, exactly. It's the Shabbos Goy that always take the fall for these children of Satan, the enemies of all mankind, as the Apostle Paul said. And these Christian Zionists say that anti-Semitism is a sin. Well, then you got to implicate Paul, the Apostle John, Jesus himself, my friends, and even God himself. And what they want to do is destroy this nation. Oh, it'll still be called America. It just won't be the America that we once knew, our parents knew, our grandparents knew. Blessings, Brother Mike. Oh, yeah, Israel, man. Israel, technology is their weapon, man. It's their weapon of mass destruction of our nation and the Christian West. Anyways, brother, have a blessed day. Hail America. Hail Christ.